Today, we uncover the shocking truth about UK fish fingers, that freezer staple millions of us rely on for quick weeknight dinners. Fish is healthy, right? It's protein, it's omega-3s, it's what we're told to eat more of. But here's the problem. Despite what the packaging tells you, we found that the fish finger aisle is absolutely packed with ultra-processed junk that barely qualifies as real fish. We're talking minced scraps, seed oils, chemical additives, and much worse. So we've gone through the major brands currently sold in UK supermarkets, and we'll expose the 12 fish finger products you need to avoid. Then I'll tell you the handful which ones are actually still worth buying. But before we dive in, if you found this kind of information valuable, I need you to hit that like button and absolutely smash the hype button right now. And this is genuinely important. The more awareness there is among the British public about this, the more it'll help expose what these corporations are doing. You're helping this reach another parent who's been unknowingly feeding their kids scraps and seed oils. You're helping spread awareness that forces these companies to face scrutiny. These corporations only change when the backlash becomes too loud to ignore. That's you saying, I refuse to let these companies get away with selling garbage and calling it food. And when enough of us refuse to accept this, when enough of us shine a light on these practices, they have no choice but to raise their standards. So don't scroll past this. Take 5 seconds and hype this video, because you're not just supporting a channel, you're supporting a movement of people who are tired of being lied to, tired of watching corporations prioritize profit over our children's health, and ready to push back. I read every comment, and I genuinely want to know what you think. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, because I'm doing more videos like this. Number 1. Iceland breaded fish fingers made with minced pollock. Now, Iceland sells these as a budget-friendly family option, and on the surface they seem fine. But here's what they don't advertise on the front of the box. These contain only 58% fish, and that fish is minced Alaska pollock, not fillet, minced. There's a massive difference. When you see minced fish on an ingredient list, what you're actually getting is leftover fish parts that have been mechanically processed into a paste. The industry uses 7.5 kilogram frozen blocks of this minced fish for economy products. It's a cheaper processing method that uses scraps and trimmings that wouldn't make it into proper fillets. You lose that flaky texture you expect from real fish. Instead, you get this dense, mushy consistency that needs to be held together with extra binders and stabilizers. And that's exactly what you'll find in these Iceland fish fingers. They need more additives to keep the minced fish from falling apart. Plus, only 58% fish content means 42% of what you're eating is breadcrumbs, starch, and oil. You're paying for deep-fried coating more than actual seafood. If you're buying fish fingers because you think you're giving your kids a healthy protein source, these aren't it. You're feeding them mostly processed breadcrumb with some minced fish thrown in. Number 2. Bird's Eye crispy battered fish fingers. Now this one really shocked me, because Bird's Eye is the most trusted name in frozen fish. They're the category leader. Captain Bird's Eye has been on our TV screens for decades, but their crispy battered range is genuinely terrible. Get this, only 48% fish content. Less than half of what you're eating is actual fish. The rest is batter, and not even good batter. We're talking minced white fish at just 48%, which means more than half of every fish finger is coating in oil. But it gets worse when you look at the additives. These contain disodium diphosphates, which is a chemical emulsifier and binder used to hold the minced fish together. They also contain sodium carbonates, which is a raising agent and preservative. Then there's skimmed milk powder, mustard, and garlic powder, all mixed into the coating. And of course, it's all fried in rapeseed oil, which is a highly processed seed oil that's inflammatory when repeatedly heated to high temperatures. Here's the really sneaky part. The packaging makes claims about 100% fillet, but read the fine print and you'll see it's minced, not whole fillet. That's deceptive marketing at its finest. You're buying a product that's mostly deep-fried batter with some fish scraps held together by chemical emulsifiers. Bird's Eye should be ashamed of this product.
Number 3. Jamie Oliver fish fingers, and this one really makes me upset. Jamie Oliver has built an entire career on campaigning for better food standards, especially for children. He's gone after schools, he's challenged the food industry, he's positioned himself as the champion of healthy eating. So you'd think his fish fingers would be premium quality, right? Wrong. These are made by Young's in the exact same factory as their standard budget line, and they contain virtually identical ingredients, 58% pollock, the same as the cheap supermarket brands we're calling out. But here's the kicker. Jamie Oliver fish fingers cost £2.50 to £3 for just 10 fingers. That's literally double the price of supermarket-owned brands with the same quality. You're paying a celebrity tax for fish fingers that are no better than the budget options. In fact, they're arguably worse in some ways. Independent testing has shown that Jamie Oliver fish fingers actually contain more fat than Young's own standard version, and they have higher salt content too. So you're paying double for an inferior product that happens to have a celebrity chef's face on the box. The marketing is brilliant, I'll give them that. Not an orange breadcrumb in sight, they say, like that somehow makes up for the fact that it's still only 58% minced fish fried in seed oils. It's pure marketing fluff, designed to make middle-class parents feel better about buying processed food for their kids. The worst part is the hypocrisy. This is the same Jamie Oliver who lectures everyone about food quality and childhood nutrition while slapping his name on factory-produced fish fingers that are fundamentally the same as budget brands but twice the price. Number 4. Young's Basic Range Fish Fingers made with minced pollock. Speaking of Young's, let's talk about their basic budget line. Young's is another big name in frozen fish. They've got that Grimsby heritage, that British seafood tradition, so people trust the brand. But their basic range is 58% minced pollock, exactly like the Jamie Oliver version they make in the same factory. The difference is, these don't pretend to be anything special. They're honestly marketed as a budget option. But that doesn't make them good. Minced fish is still minced fish, which means you're getting reconstituted scraps instead of real fillets. And these contain capsanthin, which is a synthetic color derived from peppers to make the breadcrumb look more golden and appealing. It's technically a natural color, but it's still an unnecessary additive. The point here is that even established British brands like Young's are cutting corners on their basic ranges. They're trading on their reputation while selling you the cheapest possible product. And because the Young's name is trusted, people assume they're getting quality. They're not. You're getting the same minced fish paste and seed oil coating as the supermarket value brands, just with a more recognizable logo on the box. Number 5. Iceland Cod Fillet Fish Fingers, the 30-pack made in Poland. This one is sneaky because it actually says cod fillet on the packaging, which sounds premium compared to pollock. But read the fine print and you'll see it says formed from flakes of cod fillet. Formed from flakes. That's not a whole fillet. That's fish that's been broken down into flakes and then reformed into finger shapes. It's basically reconstructed fish. The ingredient list reveals even more problems. These contain maltodextrin, which is a cheap filler and bulking agent that spikes your blood sugar. It's made from starch and it's used to pad out processed foods to make them seem more substantial than they are. They also contain dextrose, which is just another name for added sugar. Why is there added sugar in fish fingers? There's no good reason except to make them more palatable and addictive. The fish content is 63%, which sounds better than 58%, but remember it's formed from flakes, not whole pieces. And here's another red flag. These are made in Poland. Now, I'm not saying Polish food manufacturing is inherently bad, but it does mean a longer supply chain and potentially less stringent quality control compared to products made in the UK. When you're buying frozen fish, you want as short a supply chain as possible. You want to know where the fish was caught, where it was processed, and how long it's been frozen. A product made in Poland and shipped to UK Iceland stores has been on a much longer journey than something processed in Grimsby. And with the maltodextrin filler and added dextrose, you're basically eating reconstructed fish scraps with blood sugar spiking additives. Not what you want.
Number 6. Tesco Hearty Food Co. Fish Fingers. Tesco's budget line is called Hearty Food Co., which is an interesting name choice because there's nothing particularly hearty about these. They're 80p for 10 fingers, which makes them one of the cheapest options on the market, and you absolutely get what you pay for. The ingredient lists on these value lines are often deliberately vague, but based on the price point and the Tesco Hearty Food Co. branding, you can assume these are minced fish with minimal fish content, likely around the 58% mark or possibly even lower.
They're fried in rapeseed oil, they're loaded with cheap starches and fillers, and they're designed to be as cheap as possible while still technically qualifying as fish fingers. The Hearty Food Co. range is Tesco's answer to the cost of living crisis. It's their "we know you're struggling" line. And while I understand people need affordable options, the problem is these products are so ultra-processed and so far removed from real food that they're barely worth eating. You'd be better off buying a bag of frozen white fish fillets and making your own coating at home. At least then you'd know you're eating actual fish. With these Tesco value fingers, you're eating mostly breadcrumb and seed oil, with some fish paste mixed in. It's cheap, yes, but it's also nutritionally bankrupt. Number 7. Sainsbury's Stamford Street Co. Fish Fingers. Sainsbury's budget line is called Stamford Street Co., and these are genuinely shocking. 69 pence for 10 fingers. That's the cheapest fish fingers I found in this entire research. And predictably, they're absolutely terrible. 58% minced cod, not even pollock, but minced cod, which means they're taking a fish that should be premium and processing it down into paste. These are fried in rapeseed oil, and they contain artificial colorants, including paprika extract and curcumin, to make them look golden and appetizing. The paprika extract and curcumin are technically natural colors, but they're still additives that serve no nutritional purpose. They're just there to manipulate your perception of the product. At 69 pence for 10 fingers, these are being marketed to people who are really struggling financially, and that's what makes it so frustrating. The people who can least afford to compromise on nutrition are being sold the most highly processed, lowest quality products. These Stamford Street Co. fish fingers are a perfect example of how poverty is expensive. You pay less up front, but you're getting mostly breadcrumb, seed oil and fish scraps. You're not getting meaningful nutrition, you're getting cheap calories that will leave you hungry again in an hour. Number 8. Morrison's Savers Fish Fingers. Now Morrison's is interesting because their Savers range fish fingers are marketed as free from artificial colours and flavours. On the front of the packet, that messaging is right there, designed to make you think you're buying something healthier and more natural, but it's completely deceptive. Yes, they don't use artificial colours. Instead, they use so-called natural colours, like paprika extract and curcumin. But those are still unnecessary additives. They're still there purely for visual appeal. And more importantly, these are still only 58% minced Alaska pollock. 42% of what you're eating is still breadcrumb, starch and seed oil. They're still fried in rapeseed oil, which is inflammatory and heavily processed. The free-from artificial label is what's called a health halo. It's a marketing tactic designed to make processed junk food seem healthier than it is. Companies remove one or two controversial ingredients, slap a free-from claim on the front, and suddenly consumers think they're making a virtuous choice. But nothing has fundamentally changed. These Morrison's Savers fish fingers are still ultra-processed minced fish in seed oil with added starches and colorants. The only difference is the colorants are derived from plants instead of synthesized in a lab. That doesn't make them healthy, it just makes them slightly less obviously terrible. This is classic clean label marketing, and it's designed to trick health-conscious parents who don't have time to read the full ingredient list. Don't fall for it. Number 9. Asda Just Essentials Fish Fingers. And finally, we have Asda's Just Essentials range, previously called Smart Price. It's now called Just Essentials, which is meant to sound less stigmatizing, I suppose, but it's the same concept. These are £1.10 for 10 fingers, marketed directly to families in financial difficulty. And what are they getting for their money? 58% minced Alaska pollock, fried in rapeseed oil with paprika extract and curcumin colorants. Exactly the same formula as the other budget lines we've already discussed. But here's what really bothers me about this. Asda is specifically targeting struggling families with this Just Essentials branding. They're saying, we know times are tough, here's an affordable option. And then they're selling those families the lowest quality minced fish scraps mixed with inflammatory seed oils and cheap starches. These families are trying to feed their kids protein and healthy fats, and instead they're getting ultra-processed breadcrumb with some fish paste thrown in. It's a poverty premium in reverse. You pay less money, but you get so much less nutrition that you're actually worse off. The people who most need nutrient-dense food are being sold the most nutrient-empty products. And that's not just bad business, it's morally questionable. If you're going to market a budget line to people who are struggling, at least give them something that resembles real food.
So those are the 9 UK fish finger products you need to avoid. But I don't want to just leave you hanging with a list of what not to buy. Let me tell you what you should be looking for instead. First up, Sainsbury's Taste the Difference fish fingers. These are 60% whole cod fillet with a sourdough breadcrumb coating. That sourdough element means the breadcrumb is fermented, which makes it easier to digest and gives it better texture and flavor. The fish content is higher than the budget brands, and crucially, it's whole fillet, not minced. You're getting actual pieces of cod. Second, Waitrose Essential Fish Fingers. Now, Waitrose tends to be more expensive across the board, but their essential range is surprisingly affordable, and these fish fingers are genuinely good. 64% Atlantic cod fillet, which is the highest fish content I've found in mainstream supermarkets. They also have the lowest salt content at just 0.39 grams per 100 grams. Most fish fingers are sitting at around 0.6 to 0.7 grams of salt per 100 grams, so that's a significant reduction. And they're MSC certified, which means the fish comes from sustainable, well-managed fisheries. Third, Tesco Finest Chunky Cod Fish Fingers. These are 60% whole cod fillet, and as the name suggests, they're actually chunky. You can see and feel the difference when you cook them. The fish inside is thick and flaky, not dense and pasty like minced fish. The ingredient list is much cleaner than the budget options, with fewer additives and no artificial colors, and they're made in the UK, so you've got a shorter supply chain and better quality control. But beyond those 3 specific products, here's what you should be looking for in any fish finger. First, fish content above 64%. If it's 58% or lower, you're buying mostly breadcrumb. Second, look for the words whole fillet or 100% fillet on the packaging. If it says minced or formed from flakes, put it back. Third, check for MSC certification. That little blue fish logo tells you the product comes from sustainable fisheries, which generally correlates with higher quality fish. Fourth, look for products made in the UK. Shorter supply chains mean fresher fish and better oversight. And fifth, check the salt content. Anything above 0.5 grams per 100 grams is high. You want to be as close to 0.4 grams or lower as possible, especially if you're feeding these to kids regularly. Here's the thing. I know the good fish fingers are more expensive. A box of Waitrose or Sainsbury's Taste the Difference fingers might cost 2 or 3 times what the Asda Just Essentials version costs. And for families on a tight budget, that difference is significant. But what I will say is this. If you're buying fish fingers because you think they're a healthy protein option for your family, then buying the cheapest version defeats the purpose. You're getting breadcrumb and seed oil. You'd be better off buying frozen white fish fillets and oven baking them with a bit of olive oil and seasoning. That would be cheaper than the premium fish fingers and infinitely healthier than the budget fingers. Or, if you want to stick with convenience, buy the good fish fingers less often. Have them once a week instead of 3 times a week, and make up the difference with other affordable proteins like eggs or tinned sardines. The point is, don't waste your money on minced fish paste in seed oil. The food industry has spent decades convincing us that ultra-processed convenience food is normal and necessary. They've normalized products that are 50% breadcrumb and called them fish. They've created budget lines specifically for struggling families and filled them with the lowest quality ingredients possible. And they've done all of this while actual food, real fish, real vegetables, real meat has become more expensive and less accessible. That's not an accident. That's a system designed to keep people buying processed food, because processed food has better profit margins than fresh food. So when I call out these products, I'm not calling out the people who buy them. I'm calling out the companies that make them and the system that pushes them. You deserve better. Your kids deserve better. And the fact that better options are more expensive is a policy failure, not a personal one. Alright, we've covered a lot today. 9 fish finger products to avoid, 3 solid alternatives, and what to look for if you're buying something different. If you found this helpful, do me that favor I asked for at the start. Hit that like button and smash the hype button right now. The hype button is crucial because it tells the algorithm this video is valuable and worth promoting. The more people who hype this video in the first few hours, the more people it reaches, and that means more families making better informed choices at the supermarket. Also, drop a comment below letting me know what you think. I read every comment, and I genuinely want to know what you think. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel because I'm doing more videos like this. Until next time, read those labels, question the marketing, and protect your plate.